Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the first ever episode of Grit Wrestling Alliance. This is Paul Heyman's new promotion. I'm basing it sort of on a modern day ECW mixed with people from the past that Paul Heyman has liked and people from the present that Paul Heyman likes. So I'm kind of switching it up a little bit and trying to create something new. This is our first ever pay-per-view, Bloodbath.
Have an absolutely stacked card here tonight. Started by AJ Lee and Ronda Rousey. We don't actually have women's championships yet, but we're getting there. The next, the Briscoe brothers versus Edge and Christian. Next, we have CM Punk versus Jon Moxley in a singles match. Next, Sabu versus RVD, rolling back the years with this one. Next, we have Chad Gable and Bryan Danielson, which a little bit of a dream match. I talked to my brother about it earlier on. Both of us loved the idea of this match. And in our main event, Brock Lesnar versus Kurt Angle for the Grit Wrestling Alliance World Heavyweight Championship. It's gonna be big night. Might be a long night, who knows. Let's see how we get on.
This is match number 1, and big match. This could have major ramifications coming into... sorry, I just made a new account. This shouldn't be happening. Major ramifications going into women's matches further down the line, especially when we bring in the titles, which won't be too long. I think I just wanted to get the world title out of the way today, and I'll be making women's and tag titles at some stage in the next week. I'm going to try to post one of these every night, and if not every 2 nights. Like, I can't post Monday nights because I play basketball, and I normally take my girlfriend out for dinner on Friday nights. So maybe them nights I won't be posting, but other than that, I'm going to try post as much as I can. I have Sundays off work, so on Sundays I might try to record a couple of episodes that I can post on Mondays and Fridays. Just try to really get as many of these out as I can. I'm wanting to kind of get into this and really grow this. Like, it has nothing to do with growing the channel. It just has to do with, I like doing stuff like this for my entertainment. It's like, this is what my idea of fun is. I know a lot of people won't agree, but if you're watching this, you might agree. It's and I lost. I do like doing stuff like this, especially when we're kind of getting out of the summer now. It's not as warm as it was a few weeks ago, and I'm just happy. Happy that the darker evenings are coming back in. I'm not a big fan of the bright evenings. I'd rather just sit in and play PlayStation. It's not just that. Like, I prefer, like, I like being able to sleep and, like, earlier and stuff like that. I like going to the gym in the dark evenings. I'm not like, and I'm a bricklayer, so I work outdoors. So it's not ideal in the summertime when I'm absolutely sweating, and I'm white as a ghost as well. Like, my legs are burnt off me right now because I wore shorts last week. It's actually been over a week now since I wore shorts, and I'm still red raw. Like, it's starting to peel and stuff like that. So this is a very interesting first match to have, because I wasn't planning on having a women's match first, but I said why not. Like, I'm wanting to make AJ the face of this, like, our women's brand, and Ronda Rousey is someone that I wanted to have, because one of the ideas that I had doing this was I was going to have a mix between shoot style wrestlers and hardcore wrestlers. And, like, you could probably see that from the card. Like, you can see our world title matches are real shoot style wrestling, and then you can see matches that I have as well. We have Jon Moxley on the card, we have Sabu on the card, we have RVD on the card. More extreme wrestling, and then we have more shoot style technical wrestling again with the likes of Bryan Danielson and Chad Gable and CM Punk. I'm really looking forward to seeing where this goes. Like, I will be adding to the roster eventually in every aspect. Like, not just, men's, not just women's, not just tag teams. Because I do have a lot of people that I have added to the roster that I don't have on the card. And I was going to do a roster reveal, but I said I wouldn't because I think that it'd be better watching material if some of the people that I brought in were surprises. I don't even know. Oh, it's 5 count. Uh, yeah, like, because I don't want to be like, oh, this person here's on the roster, and everyone like, oh, that's cool. And then, you know, when I decide to bring them in as a surprise after not using them for 2 months, uh, it won't be a surprise to anyone because they just know that that person's on the roster. So obviously, like I done it where I have 8 women, I have 6 tag teams, I have 8 men for my mid card title, and I have 8 men for my main event title. And the men's main event and the men's mid card title are going to like switch up and face against each other. Like John Moxley is in for my mid card title because I'm gonna call it the hardcore title, and I think it's something that Moxley. Oh, we have a finish here. Uh, I think it's something that Moxley would thrive in rather than being. I think it'd be easier for Moxley to be a hardcore wrestler than be a world title one, especially if I'm doing a kind of shoot style where I have your Brock Lesnar's and your Kurt Angles and all these kind of bigger wrestlers and more technical wrestlers. And then it's the same thing, I have, like, I know I said I didn't want to ruin the roster, but I have Mick Foley and I have Terry Funk and I have other wrestlers that, I'd consider more hardcore big name wrestlers. Like, I didn't bring in, like, Danzig, or I didn't bring in Nick Wayne, or not Nick Wayne, Nick Gage. I didn't bring in any of these kind of, like, indie deathmatch kind of, like, backyard almost wrestlers. Any of the wrestlers that I brought in, because I was going to bring in Atsushi Onita. He would have been the most unique person that I would have brought in, but I couldn't actually find an Onita that looked any good, so I didn't. Oh, we just made Ronda Rousey tap out. That is a very good first match for us, and let's get into our tag team match. It's AJ is definitely someone who will probably be fighting for our women's title in the first ever women's title match. I'm not sure if she'll win it or not, but it's worth. For me, it's worth looking into because I do have a lot of women on the roster. So I might do a multi-woman match. I could do a 4-woman match or a 6-woman match. But yeah, first match done and dusted. Match number 2 is Edge and Christian versus the Briscoe brothers. I'm being Edge and Christian in this one because I feel like I have teams that I think have more history with Edge and Christian that I could possibly do matches for with my, like, for the tag titles when I do bring them in, which will probably be next week. You see, this is a pay-per-view that we're doing right now, and then I think we have 4 or 5 like weekly television shows for Grit, which it's yeah, like I'm not gonna have a lot of kind of, there is gonna be big matches and all on it, and like I am going to be keeping track of wins and losses and stuff like that. But yeah, like I think the Briscoes will have plenty of opportunities to gain wins further down the line. It's just I want Edge and Christian to be in and about for my tag team division, like in and about for the tag team titles early. Like I'm happy with the tag team division that I'm after building. There was a lot of people that I was considering taking that who knows I might take further down the line. Some of them were the likes of Paul London and Brian Hendrick. I was looking at kind of like I wanted to kind of bring in, like, the reason I didn't bring in the hooligans or London and Kendrick or whatever you want to call them is because I don't really think they fit what we're building at the minute. Like, the Young Bucks are one of my favourite tag teams, and I don't think that they fit what we're building. The only place, like, I think I've given us a little bit more freedom in what we're looking for with our tag teams, but I still want a little bit more of a gritty kind of a shoot, or a gritty kind of a hardcoreness to our tag division. Like, it would have been easy for me to be like, oh yeah, I'll take the Young Bucks and I'll take FTR and I'll take this person and that person. And, you know, I might take teams like that down the line if the product kind of sways or if the direction of where we're going switches. But I don't think it is at the minute. I think I'm happy with what I'm building. And, like, in terms of our tag division, um, this is a little bit of a spoiler, but we have the Hardys from the early 2000s, which I think them versus Edge and Christian would be the ideal start, like, it'd be the ideal rivalry to start our tag titles with. You know, like, it's not uh, like, it's hard for me to explain, like, but when you see it play out, you'll understand. Like, I don't want it to be very modernized. I'm wanting to kind of keep it in the same kind of era for the minute. Like, it's sort of the reason why I haven't brought in teams like, you know, like, I was going to bring in the Midnight Express and I was going to bring in the Rock and Roll Express, and like I said, later on down the line that might happen. But at the minute, I'm wanting similar types of teams. Like, I could always I can always envision the Briscoes being in them ladder matches with Edge and Christian and the Hardys and the Dudleys, and I think that, like, they would have, if they would have been fatal 4-way matches with the Briscoes in them, they would have, you know, for as iconic as they are today, I think, you know, Mark and Jay would have brought a whole new, well, they would have brought a whole new style and a whole new appreciation to those matches. But yeah, I think that's why I wanted them, because, like, I've seen some of the ladder matches that they've had with, like, Generico and Steen in Ring of Honor, and some of the ladder matches that they've had with the Young Bucks and stuff like that. And, like, I think the Young Bucks, like I said, could come in and feud with the Hardys down the line, and, you know, I'd like to see. I'd like to see Kenny Omega's my favorite wrestler. I'm definitely going to bring him in at some stage, but for what I'm building my main event scene like right now, I don't think Omega currently fits. Like, maybe Omega and Angle somewhere down the line would be phenomenal, and, you know, running a story out of that, or bringing in, like, a version of the Bullet Club where, like, I could have Devitt and I could have Jay White and I could have Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks, and just people from different eras of the Bullet Club coming in to try take over. Like, I think that's a fun idea. There's a lot of people that I do want to sign. There's a lot of people that I didn't put in this simply because I'm not sure. Like, I'm not sure how much of my audience would know. Like, I wanted to bring in Shun Skywalker, but I'm not sure how much of my audience would know it. And, like, I feel like a lot of the people who watch my videos are kind of younger people anyway, because it's video game content. I don't know how many people would know Hayabusa. I don't know how many people would know Atsushi Onita. I don't know how many people would know Minami Toyota. Like, these stars of the 90s that were mainly big in places like Japan and Mexico. Like, it'd be really tough for me to try to use them against people like Brock Lesnar if people don't know who they are. Like, I feel like a lot of the people that I do have on my roster, people have a genuine connection to and genuinely know what those people are about. And, like, one of the people that I have chose to use on this is Minoru Suzuki, but I feel like he's someone that has really been integrated into American wrestling, especially through the 2010s. Like, and, you know, there's obviously a hardcore audience in the United States that follows Japanese wrestling, and, you know, probably even those kind of the Joshi wrestlers, like, you know, your Minami Toyotas and stuff like that. But like I said, it's more just, like, I try to think of it as, if this person walked out on AEW Dynamite, or if this person walked out on Monday Night Raw, would people know who they are? Like, I think early in the AEW days they had Crowbar walk out, And like I thought, like, do many people remember Crowbar? It's the same thing that had Glacier on one of the early battle royals. Oh, and there's a win. So that's match number 2 out of the way, and yeah, another good match, and like another, like, we can really build Edge and Christian into something now. Like, great start. I'm looking forward though to introducing the Hardys and maybe doing Edge and Christian versus the Hardys. I put down Edge and Christian as heels, but I don't think that they are heels. I might have to look into it, because when I bring in the Hardys, they're definitely going to be the baby faces. But we're going to get into the next match and see how we get on. Next match, CM Punk versus Jon Moxley. My idea with this is the winner of this match is going to go in and fight for the Hardcore Championship. So whoever wins this, whether it's CM Punk or Jon Moxley, is going to be one of the members in the Hardcore title match. And what I'm thinking of doing is having CM Punk versus Jon Moxley, and then on our next pay-per-view, well, I was thinking having Punk and Moxley against each other, and then Sabu and RVD, and then the winner, the two winners of those fight for the Hardcore Championship in the video that I record tomorrow for, for they fight for the Hardcore title, basically, in the video that I record tomorrow. And that's just going to be on a normal episode of Grit. It's not going to be on pay-per-view. It's I don't think the title is that important. That, well, it is an important title. It's a mid-card title, but I like to think that that's going to be defended a lot more than the it's going to be defended a lot more than the World Championship. The World Championship is going to be kept for pay-per-views and maybe special television shows. But I'm happy enough doing what I'm doing at the minute and continuing to, like, I think with the Hardcore title, I don't think I'm going to call it the Hardcore title. I think I'm going to call it, the Grit Your Teeth title or something like that. And maybe I'll do a thing where that gets defended every single week. I think that would be a fun idea if it got defended every single week. And like, I liked the idea of it being, one of the ideas I had is, I'll do an Iron Man match every week. But like, I think that'd really drag the video out, and that's something that I don't really want to do. I had an idea of it being a hardcore match every week, which I don't really want to do either. I had another idea where what I was genuinely thinking was just, I'll spin a wheel every single week and we'll see what kind of match comes out. Sort of like a Cyber Sunday kind of thing, except instead of it being, instead of it being, chosen by the fans, it's like, chosen at random. And I thought that, like, that would be a fun idea. But, like, I'm not too sure. Like, if anybody has any suggestions, like, leave a comment and we'll see what happens. There's other things as well that I'm wanting to do. Like, I think eventually I will have 2 mid-card titles, because, like, my roster is already kind of big and it will only be getting bigger. So I think that, like, I will end up having, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to have, like, sort of like the Ring of Honor Pure title, except it's going to be like it'll only be defended in submissions, if that makes sense. I'm just going to let him out of this, because I probably could have tapped him out there, but alright, we'll go for the GTS. Oh, and I just made a mistake. I probably should have tapped him out there. We're battering him anyway, so it's not too bad. But yeah, like, I think we will have like a submission only title. And like, I'm not going to call it, the submission belt. I will come up with something different. It's just, it's something that I'm going to take some time to think about, because like, I'm not fully sure what I'm going to do yet. I was thinking as well of different pay-per-views that we're going to have. And there's one pay-per-view that, like, we obviously have this one here, the Bloodbath pay-per-view, which I literally came up with this morning and literally just used AI to create logos and stuff like that. And it took me like an hour and a half maybe to download. Like, I had to get all the logos and stuff like that, and then I had to upload them to my profile. Then I had to download all the people that I wanted on my roster, write it out, and my brother gave me a hand with some of it, like. But yeah, it's just something that there's a lot more to do on this. Like, you know, it's not the finished product yet. Like, I literally only came up with the idea to do this yet. Well, I've had the idea for this for a while, but I only came up with the idea to actually do it today, like yesterday. Like, I knew I was going to get some of it done this weekend, and I wanted to kind of get a start on it so that it'd be easier for me. Like, cause if I'm not working like if I don't work Sundays, and tomorrow, like, I'm not really doing anything. So what I might just end up doing is really just trying to GTS. Yeah, really just trying to record 4 or 5 different things and trying to add women's titles and mid card titles. And CM Punk wins. Big winner by CM Punk. So CM Punk will be going on to fight for the mid card title. Whether it's going to be called the hardcore title or not, I do not know. It's something that, like I said, I'm going to look into after I'm finished recording tonight. But yeah, no, big win for CM Punk, first ever show. So yeah, like, let's get into the next match straight away. You know, let's not waste any more time. So this is our other #1 contenders match, which you might as well say this is the other semi-final. I know, like, it's not an official tournament, but I think this is the match that, like, I was kind of looking forward to playing when I was setting up this card, because, like, these are two of my all-time favorites, and, like, I love, like, CM Punk is probably my second favorite wrestler of all time, and I love Jon Moxley as well, but, like, I love this, like, I love this generation of wrestling. I love, like, the 90s, even though, like, I think ECW had the best wrestling during the 90s. Like, you know, you had to, like, see your RVDs and Sabus, and, you know, I think even to, like, see your Tazes and stuff like that, I just liked the way those guys wrestled. Uh, like, I think that in the main event, having these smaller, more agile, quick guys, like, I know Taz obviously wasn't one of those, but, you know, like your RVDs and your Sabus. But yeah, like, I think maybe Sabu might win my first mid card title. I'm, like I said, haven't even made anything. Like, I haven't even made the mid card titles yet. Never mind making anything certain. But yeah, this is just something that, like, it's just an idea I had. I really like Sabu, and, like, obviously he only passed away a couple of months ago. And when I was coming up with the roster for this, of, like I said, the gritty kind of, you know, extreme wrestling mixed with yeah, and, like, mixing that with what we have in terms of the technical style, like, mixing both of those together. Like, I really like the idea of having Sabu on the roster. And there's a pile driver. We'll see if we can get the win with this. Kick out by RVD. We're, oh my god, that's with the tutorials making me mess up. Excuse me. Oh my god. One thing after the next making me mess up. RVD going Rolling Thunder here. Rolling Thunder. Oh, we reverse. Leg drop. I didn't think it was going to let me do it there for a minute. Big win by Sabu. So that's one match that is confirmed for next week, and I am going to put it in the book. The main event of our first ever weekly television show is going to be CM Punk versus Sabu, and that's going to be for our mid card title. I'm not, like I said, I'm not sure what I'm going to call it, but you will find out tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow evening I'll post it, because tomorrow morning I'll probably get the last few finishing touches on it. But main event confirmed for next week. This match here is like one of the other ones I was really looking forward to playing. We have the American Dragon Bryan Danielson versus Chad Gable, and like I said, I was talking to my brother about this one here earlier on, and we said it was a little bit of a dream match. But I'm looking forward to just seeing how this goes, because I'm wanting to push Gable, but not quite yet. Like, I think as it is at the minute, like, I want Bryan Danielson to be one of my guys, like, you know, one of the guys that does take, you know, that takes the company forward, you know. Like, he might be the guy who challenges the winner of the main event. So, like, as much as I would like to, I'm not going to give Gable the win in this one here. But who knows, in, you know, 6 months' time, you know, Gable could be fighting for the world title. He could be our mid-card champion. When I had the initial idea to put Gable on my roster, my idea was to have him in my main event scene. Because, like, I would like to see him against, you know, the shoot wrestlers, the Brock Lesnars and the Kurt Angles. Like, I think Gable and Angle would be a phenomenal match. And I think that that's something, like I said, there's a lot of Kurt Angle matches that I said I'd like to do down the line, and that's one of them. You know, I think that's a match that we deserve on pay-per-view. It's not something that I'm kind of just going to do on the weekly television show. Like, we're obviously going to build to it on other things. But, yeah, like I said, as much as I'd like to give Gable the win here, I don't have it in me to make, or to give the loss to Danielson. Because I think this is a good match for Danielson to show that he could be next to fight for that world title against either Angle or Lesnar. And after that, you know, I'm looking forward to seeing who else on my roster steps up. Like, because for me, it's about playing as, like, who makes sense, if that makes sense. I don't want it to be, like, I don't want it to be too unrealistic, but at the same time, I don't want it to be boring, and I don't want, you know, the same, like, I don't want to be playing the same matches week in, week out, and I don't want to be having the same winners week in, week out, and, like, there is going to be a lot of shock victories and shock wins, and it's something that I think a lot of people don't do when they play Universal Modus. They just pick the same people that won last week to win this week, and, you know, over and over and over again. And that's something that I'm wanting to nip in the bud a little bit, and I'm wanting to make sure that, like, nothing is for certain. You know, Brock Lesnar, if he's the champion, he could go up again a guy that's 0-10 and he could lose. Like, I'm the idea I'm wanting to have is everything is just on the day. You know, I'm wanting to play this with a little bit of mystery, even for myself. Like, when I was setting this up to actually play, like, I'd already picked the matches, I'd already started recording and stuff like that, and I was starting the Edge and Christian versus Briscoes match. And when the scene came up where I had to pick who I was controlling, I genuinely wasn't sure who to pick. And, like, I think that's the kind of the mystery that I want to have, you know. It's something that I like, having those matches that, you know, you're not too sure who you're wanting to win in them. And I feel like I am going to have a lot of them. And I'm going to challenge myself with this, you know. Oh my god, he reversed it. Yeah, I am going to challenge myself with this, though, and I'm not going to have the same people winning, and that was a very appropriate finish to that match. I'm genuinely happy with that match, and, like, I'm happy with the finish to it, because it was Danielson won with a roll up. So I think realistically, Chad Gable could say that it was a fluke victory. But yeah, no, I'm genuinely happy with that, and I suppose it's time to get into the big one now. You know, let's not keep ourselves in suspense anymore. Is it the Great Wrestling Alliance World Championship, a championship that I made this morning using AI. No, I'm genuinely looking forward to this, though. I'm looking forward to giving this belt a little bit of a history. It's something that I feel, you know, a year from now, if I continue to play this, it's gonna be fun to look back to see who's held the belt. And, you know, I think this is a big moment because it's the first ever match for the belt, and it's something that I genuinely want to continue. like I'm wanting to continue to build a legacy for this belt and build a legacy for this promotion. And I know like it's not serious, it's 2K, but at the same time, like I think it's fun to have stuff like this, you know. It's fun to do stuff like this, and it's fun to use your imagination. Like I'm a big fan of TTRPGs, and I'm a big fan of, you know, fantasy video games and fantasy movies and anything that'll keep your brain occupied. And this is something that would keep my brain occupied. It'd be something that I'd think about in work. It'd be something that I'd think about, you know, when I'm in the van on the way to work, when I'm doing whatever it is that I need to do throughout the day. Like I would be thinking about this, and we are caught in a submission here. And like I wouldn't be thinking about it because like I have nothing else to think about, but I'd be thinking about this because it genuinely excites me to come home and play. Like, you know, oh, who's going to be the next world champion, or who's going to be the next mid-card champion, could this person, you know, win tonight, or who could be the next person that I add to my roster to make this even better, you know. And I like the idea of building that, and it's something that, like I said, I'm going to continue to do. This title, I'm going to try really build a legacy for it. And the reason why I actually picked these two is everyone knows the WrestleMania match between these two, where, you know, there was obviously a lot of controversy, and Lesnar almost broke his neck when he came off the top rope. But like another reason is because obviously this is Paul Heyman's promotion. You know, I'm trying to think about it from his point of view. And even when I was building the promotion, it's the reason why I kind of mixed up the gritty technical style with the hardcore style, because I'm not saying that I want this to be like ECW, but I want it to have that kind of feel to it. Like, I think that, you know, the likes of your Sabus and stuff like that, like, I think if the Briscoes would have been around earlier, they would have been in ECW. I would have liked to seen people like John Moxley and Bryan Danielson in ECW. And I think that, you know, having a game like this where you can kind of mix eras together and like have somebody from the 90s against somebody from the 2020s and stuff like that, it just, I think it really makes it more interesting rather than kind of just playing the generic universe mode. I've been playing an all-through universe mode lately, which has been fun, but I think that this is something that's going to capture my attention a lot more, because I feel like this isn't going to be as repetitive, because I can kind of write my own story and pave my own path. Here we're going for the F5. Oh, F5. Pin by Lesnar, maybe. Do we have a new champion? Ladies and gentlemen, the first ever Great World Champion. I'm genuinely happy with how that show went. You know, it's a great start, and it actually took me a lot shorter than I thought. Like, I thought that I was going to be here playing all night, but yeah, that's the view, and that's the, you know, this is the start now. Lesnar's the champ. I think we're going to leave it at that for tonight. You know, it's going to be really exciting to see what happens down the line. Oh, that was a rough match, 1.5 star. But like I said, we're going to see what happens. I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens with the world title. I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens with the mid-card title. And look, if you're interested, tune in next time. I'll be posting hopefully every night, if not every second night. Thanks for watching.